They need the world, not just America. Everybody looks at America, and we're going to be the first ones to go.
What do you think, Lisa, is the next big move of the Antichrist?
They've already made it very clear that they want to link it to everything. They want to link it to your bank account, your medical history.
Those people are having a reaction. They're walking the streets like zombies.
You're going to need something to serve. If you're not serving God, you're serving something or someone.
I want you to go to davidheavener.tv. We have 2 exclusive videos that are up. You won't see any place else. I'm Dr. Michael Lake. The first one is Technocracy and Tyranny. That's part 2. Part 1 is MK Ultra is used today, program multiples and mass shootings. This is stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. You'll get it on davidheavener.tv. Please support us. If you haven't signed up, go and sign up now. You get a 2 months free if you sign up for a year. And folks, it is not expensive, but it really does help the ministry. And also, you'll get over 700 videos. Spencer, what are the names of some of those channels up there?
Yeah, David, we've got the live stream channel. We've got the Russ Dizdar tribute channel, David's Choice, In the Spotlight, Spiritual Warfare Training, Alien Demon Connection, the Last Evangelist TV series, originals and exclusives, Mind Control.
And it's the only place you can see Last Evangelist, davidheavener.tv. What's the next move of the Antichrist? What do we need to look for as Christians? Hey, we talk about this in Last Evangelist. I wrote the series 3.5 years ago. A lot of stuff that's in it is coming to be now with viruses, vaccines, church lockdowns. You have to be registered with the government, cashless society. We got the first episode completed, and my guest is actually in it. Lisa, you there?
I am.
How does it feel to play a female Dr. Fauci?
I hope I portrayed enough to see, he's an evil. It's evil, and I'll be quite frank. I don't like Fauci. I don't like what he talks about. He's flip flop Fauci. I'll just call him what it is. He's been back and forth on a lot of stuff, all over the board on this pandemic. And with what you're playing in The Last Evangelist, I think it really paints a picture of where we're headed. You asked, what's the next step of the Antichrist? What's the next step? And you mentioned it right before. You said cashless society, and I might fudge that more to around 5 years than 10 years, I would say. But I really do think that's going to be the next step of our globalist dictators. And I think some of the stuff that you portray in that particular series is absolutely some of the stuff we're going to see in the near future.
Your job was to convince people to take this this thing into their body, even though there was reactions and people were having a reaction from it. And your job was to go worldwide and convince them that, hey, it's going to be okay. But then when it started going, awry, your next job was to convince them it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, in Last Evangelist, people are having a reaction. They're walking the streets like zombies, going crazy. Do you see Big Pharma playing a part in this whole persecution of Christians, in the way they're supplying drugs to people, and the way people are leaning to drugs as God instead of to God? In other words, do you see this as part of the Antichrist system, of that master of medicine, the Antichrist, as opposed to leaning to God for our answer, for our healing? We're just running to drugs.
Oh yeah. I think Big Pharma is going to have a play in end time Bible prophecy. I think if you're going to come up with a microchip implant or some kind of implant that you put in your hand or forehead, they've already made it very clear that they want to link it to everything. They want to link it to your bank account, your medical history. That would include your vaccination status and everything on one little chip. We know Aaron Russo talked about it. I believe it was back in the day, years and years ago, and said that this is the ultimate plan. This is the ultimate agenda, which we already know is part of their plan. But I think Big Pharma is absolutely going to play a role in that. And yes, people are because when you're outside of Jesus, I'll put it very simply, when you're not on the right path, you're gonna need something to serve. If you're not serving God, you're serving something or someone, and that something could be alcoholism, or that something could be prescription drugs, or it could be drugs, or it could be money, or it could be power. In the case of a lot of the people in our elitists, but so I think that's absolutely what we're going to see.
What do you think, Lisa, is the next big move of the Antichrist? What can we look for What can people look for to go, oh yeah, okay, watch out for?
Yeah, I think the cashless society. We already have the equipment that could create the things needed for a microchip implant already there. They've created the equipment, they created the technology. There is no reason to do that unless you plan on utilizing it. They've already done it over in Sweden with vaccines. You can put your vaccine in your arm, and that can be used as your COVID pass or your vaccine passport over in Sweden.
Right.
So all of this stuff exists. So I think cashless society is the next big step that we could see because they have to take control of everything. They can't implement that mark until they have a cashless society. Also, the reason they need to bankrupt and explode our economy because they need the world, not just America. Everybody looks at America and we're going to be the first ones to go. But once that economic system breaks, they're going to have to bring in some global currency and it could come concurrent with the mark of the beast. It could be an all one enchilada or it could be cashless society first, then followed by the mark, depending on how far we are in end time Bible prophecy.
Yes, and so we talked about what's next, cashless society. Which, by the way, episode 2 of Last Evangelist deals with cashless society. So I'm almost afraid to start shooting that because I'm afraid that's gonna happen. Um, what can we do? What we as Christians, what is it that we need to do? Even if it's one or two things, three things that you have to say. What's at the top of the list, Lisa? Because we heard all this bad stuff, but we know we're the winners. We know how the book ends. We know the end of the story. What can we do?
Yeah. And I'm going to say things that I think a lot of Christians sometimes fail to say. And number one, you have to get active. And I say active, I mean politically active. And the
Right.
reason being is you're not going to save society sitting at home in a normalcy bias bubble, allowing evil to thrive. Because if you're not voting, if you're not getting involved, if you're not active in your child's school, and I'm not just saying at a political level, I'm at an education level, you have to understand what your kids are being taught. If you don't like what they're being taught, you got to homeschool. That's a beautiful option. Obviously, homeschool when you can. And for those of you who can't, you have to get involved in your kids' education system, be it that you run for the school board. Because if we don't have Christians in any part of society that's actually running and doing things in society, we're out. We're out. And I think that's one of the biggest failures because every Christian thinks, oh, I'm just going to get involved in the church. And that's it. And they think, okay, I'm going to plug in here in the church. I'm doing this in the church. When a lot of the times, God doesn't want you to stay just in the church. He wants you to he wants you to reach out into the community. And that's what we're failing. We're devoting so much time within and not enough time without. And I'm talking politically, I'm talking at education levels, all of that. That's a big one. Number two, you're always going to have prayer. We have to pray. We have to stay focused on Jesus and do those things. And that's going to be a part. Be spiritually active. Make sure you're right with Jesus. All of that kind of falls in that second one. And third, might even have to be like, Martin Luther King Jr., right? Stand up and make our voices heard one day through peaceful actions.
Don't forget about lastevangelist.com. You can go to that site. This is episode 2 is about the vaccine. Episode 3 is about artificial intelligence. Folks, if you want to help me get the word out to Hollywood, to the atheists, to people that don't even know God, they don't know anything about this kind of stuff, this is a great mission field. So consider donating. You can be an executive producer, you can be a producer, you can have a walk-on role. Go pick up all this merchandise. It helps support and promote the ministry. Lastevangelist.com. You can go to that site. When you donate to this ministry, I can honestly tell you that we talk about things the church won't. I do my best. I do my best to get the word out, and so does Shanita. And anything that you can give that God lays on your heart would be appreciated. It keeps us going. It keeps this show going. It keeps us traveling to pray for people. And it's just much appreciated. davidheavener.tv/give. Consider becoming a monthly partner. You can call 844-806-0006, or you can text the word chosen to 91999.